Welcome to the Make Life Your Bitch podcast. I'm your host, Brittany Alicia. Greatness is a decision and your birthright. You deserve to love the woman looking back at you in the mirror. This show is for the purpose-driven female entrepreneur who is committed to only counting the time she gets back up. The woman who is ready to ignite the flame within, find her voice, and use the power of her story to transform the lives of those around her. This is your weekly fuel to inspire you to action, where I'll be sharing inspirational stories, real talks with thought leaders and successful entrepreneurs from around the world, and provide you with actionable success strategies for creating a business you love. I'm a content marketing coach, and I'm committed to helping you as an online creator and entrepreneur wherever you are to turn your dreams into a reality, to help you transform your messaging so you can create a genuine connection with your audience and grow your income online. You are far more powerful and stronger than you will ever imagine. We are the warriors. You were born for this. Let's make life your bitch. Hello. Welcome to the Make Life Your Bitch podcast. I am your host, Brittany Alicia, and it has been a hot moment since I have been able to do a podcast episode. And if you follow along in the Facebook group, the Make Life Your Bitch Lounge, I have been sick. So recording episodes and editing episodes has been not something I've been able to do. So it's excited. I'm excited to be back on the mic. And, I was talking to a client today and we were talking about growing her business and we were talking about energetics. And we were laughing so hard when we started talking about what I'm going to talk about today that I told her, I said, I'll go do an episode today on this topic. And so the topic that I want to talk to you about today is quantum leaping and collapsing time. And it's going to be something that you're probably like either going to laugh or hate me for. So, we were talking about the idea around how quantum leaping and collapsing time is trendy right now, right? If you follow along in any of the feminine energetics spaces, there's lots of people who are talking about it. Obviously, I've had episodes and stuff where I've talked about it, but it was something that I didn't even really think of until, recently. And then we were talking today that it kind of occurred to me that a lot of people don't actually realize. And so you have to remember when it comes to quantum leaping and, lots of women start their businesses and immediately see these women making millions and they talk about, I was making like 10K months and then all of a sudden like I quantum leaped and I made 50K and then I quantum leaped and I collapsed time and I made 100K and they get all excited about it. And you see that and you get so excited yourself and you're like, I'm in. And you hire her as a coach and you don't get results and you're frustrated, right? And so we were laughing today because the reason you have not quantum leaped or collapsed time is because you are still at 0, right? Or you are at 1. So the idea of like, if we were to think about planting seeds or quantum leaping, right? If you don't have any clients yet, how do you have someone who's going to talk about you or talking about testimonials or your social proof, right? And so when you can start to bring people into your world, so if we have one person, say you have one client and they get really good results from working with you, they're sending you a message and they're like, oh my goodness, like these are the results I got and they're excited and they tell one person, right? Then you have 1 and 1. And so it's going to be a little thing of like one person telling one person, right? But say you have 5 clients now, or you have 10 clients now. So say you're going after a 10K month. We're launching Wealthy Rebel right now. If you are a female coach, it's going to be something that's super up your alley, right? Because it's all about helping you hit those 5, 10K months in your coaching business. And it's a done with you launch. And so with that, when you bring people in, often the women in my world, they're still in their 9 to 5. They've maybe only made like a couple $1,000s in their business, and they're not at those 5, 10K months. And people come in and they just want to like jump to the finish line. And so if you bring in, hypothetically, let's say you do your launch, you bring in 10 women. Well, the next time you do a launch, those 10 women are going to tell, they might tell 10 people. Well, all of a sudden now you have 20 women, right? And then those 20 women, they each tell one, and now there's 40. And then those 40 tell 40, and all of a sudden there's 80, right? And so when you start to think about quantum leaping and collapsing time, you can't quantum leap and collapse time from zero, right? And so you have to like scale it back a bit and just like go after the one. And then you go after the 2, and then you go after the 3. And all of a sudden over time, that's when you start collapsing time. And the biggest thing around that, especially with social media, right? Like that's what I teach, is I teach you how to grow and launch your businesses through social media. And the biggest way for you to be able to do that is you need to be seen. You need to be visible. It's absolutely crucial. A lot of people are, if you're, I've been in my world, a lot of the women who I end up, coaching are very creative, right? They often have, programs and masterclasses of ideas, things they've recorded, things they've built, and it's like all saved on their computer, but they've never actually taken it through the finish line to actually sharing it with the world. Or maybe they put it out once or twice, nobody commented, nobody responded, and the energy dropped, and it was like, well, and the easy thing is to go back behind the computer and create because that's what made them feel good, right? And they got excited. You get excited about like your program that you're creating, and you're like, this is my next big thing. And then you put it out there, and then crickets again, right? And so if you are able to actually take that through the finish line, and like if you are hiring coaches who are only talking about sales, who are only talking about content, what you have is all these missing pieces. Like you have to do an actual launch process where you are actually bringing people into your world, and you are taking someone from stranger to sale. If all you're doing is focusing on sales, or all you're doing is focusing on content, you have this like gap, right? If you've heard me talk about the 8 steps of the client journey that I personally teach my clients, and it's all about those steps of like bringing people into your world first. So if you don't have visibility and you are too busy creating and you're not actually putting yourself out there on social media, you have no one to buy this awesome program that you've just created. It could be the best program in the world, but if you don't have an audience to purchase from you, they're not going to purchase. And you hear it all the time, like you don't need a big audience for people to purchase. But if you have no audience, who they're not active and you're not actually supporting them and they don't trust you, you don't have them at the place of they trust you and they're waiting for that thing for you to put out, then there's this gap, right? They don't trust you. They see what you're putting out and they see it, and they see you talking about it, but they're not ready to buy. They're still strangers to you. And so having a genuine audience who is excited, they love your content, they love connecting with you, is very important. But again, you can't just create content and a program and put it out to the world either. It has to be for a specific kind of person. You have to be bringing the right people, the right audience into your world. And that's why the dream client is so important. When I talk to women about their signature systems, your signature system could be for anyone, right? Like I do done with you launches. Wealthy Rebel could technically be for women who are in multi-level marketing. It could be for men who are coaches. I don't want to work with men. With the women who are in multi-level marketing, part of the program is all about you creating and building your your masterclass and offer. And of course, it could be it could be amazing for network marketers. But the thing is that often holds them back is they don't get to create their own offers. They don't get to do their own pricing, right? And so when I talk about Rebel, I'm like talking about the women who want freedom, desire freedom, the women who also are such free spirits that they like to also do things their way, right? Because I know there's people who will invest in programs and someone will only teach you your way of, or like their way of doing things. And you tried and it doesn't work for you. And so my focus is more on helping you find your way, right? And so when we start to think about the quantum leap and the collapsing time, when you think about your own clients or the people you desire to bring into your world, like, yes, set goals, super important, but don't walk into the day and start your day off and your morning off thinking to yourself, I'm going to get 10 clients today when you have 0, right? Start off with like, I am getting 1 client today. I'm getting 1. I know it. I'm going after it. I'm finding that perfect 1 person. And you go after her, him, and you go find them, right? And then you book the next call, or, you have the next conversation. You have the next conversation. And even just by you putting out a post and connecting with that 1 person on there, all of a sudden, as soon as that 1 person comments, other people get interested, right? And even within a single post, all of a sudden it gains traction, right? Because there's going to be those ones who, they aren't the leaders. They aren't the people who like is going to be the first to say yes, but they will see other people saying yes. And then all of a sudden they're like, I want that too. Other people want it. I want it, right? Those friends that you have that like, they don't want anything, like, and they like make fun of different items. One of the things I was joking with my cousin about at Christmas time was those fanny packs that people are wearing as like purses or bags like over their chest. And so I was bugging her about it. And, I'm bugging her. And then all of a sudden she's like the one she had was like super cute. And I'm like, oh, well, I kind of want one of those. I mean, it would look so totally stupid on me. But it's one of those things that I would not be that first person to wear that thing by any means, right? But there's women out there who will do that same thing, right? And they'll be like, oh my God, that's so stupid. And then all of a sudden they'll see everyone wearing it and they're like, hey, maybe that's actually cute. Like, all right, like she styled it really cute with that. And like, now I want it, right? And so it's the same thing with your content, that when you first start putting out content that, for lead generation, right? Because before we even get to the sales generation, it's like, can we get some leads first? And so like, in order for you to actually put out that lead generating material, you have to start connecting with people. Like, you want them to be able to see your name and know who you are, to the point that like they see you so much that when it does come time that they want what you have to offer, you are at the top of their mind. One of the examples I gave my client today is I said, like, have you ever been in a relationship where there was a guy that you liked, but he only had time for you for like, once a week or maybe every 2 weeks, he would go out on a date with you, or you would text him and he took a really long time to respond back and he just didn't really seem very interested. Like, that's what you're doing to your business if you aren't showing up for your audience, right? You're either like posting and ghosting to them, or you're doing it to your business where you aren't actually giving it the time and, nurturing and love that it actually needs in order to grow, right? So really identify for yourself, like, where am I at on my journey to bringing people in? Like, who is my audience? Are they ready to buy from me? And if they are, am I the first person they think of? How do I make it so that I am the first person that they think of? Is it that when it comes to direct messaging, is it because you've gone in there and actually built relationships and you've just created a connection with someone? Or is it that you've actually like done a cold pitch on a copy paste DM and now all of a sudden they're like, okay, no, now I definitely don't want your stuff, delete. I mean, that's how I am, right? I'm not someone who does cold DMs. I always laugh when I have appointment setters come into my DMs and they're trying to sell me on their appointment setting. And I'm like, no, this is the exact opposite of what I teach my clients or what I desire. So you would not be the appointment setter for me. I was actually looking for an appointment setter today. And I was going through and, I saw so many people being like DM scripts and, other people who are looking for appointment setters being like, we have the perfect DM script. And I'm like, no, like I'm all about connection marketing. And so, it's super important that whenever we go out there, like if DMs are for you, like 100%, like do your script, right? But it's first off, identify like what is for you and like, what do you love to do? But also, if you are not liking being on social media, you really need to get clear as to why. Why are you procrastinating? Why are you avoiding it? And when you can get clear on that and like ask yourself, like, what is the real reason why I hate like social media, right? What is the real reason why I don't want to be on here? When I think about, for me, my DMs, I don't like to spend a whole bunch of time in my DMs because it's a lot of energy and I can't make as big of an impact with women, right? So if I'm in my DMs and I'm connecting with someone, it's because I'm investing my energy in that place and I'm actually taking the time to sit down and build relationships in there and like for me, having a 6.5-month-old, she's going to be seven months here right away, having a business, a family, all the things, it's a lot to like, I like to, like, I care about my clients. I care about the people in my DMs. So in order for me to like actually do a DM with someone, I want to be sitting down and giving them my full attention is what I'm trying to say. Like, I want to be able to give that person my full attention. And if I can only give them like half attention or, be that person in that relationship, then for me, a better place for me to be is on the posts and be interacting with them there, because there's not as much of that expectation that this is a conversation of right away back and forth in the direct messages, right? It's direct messages, right? Versus with the posts and the comments, like we're connecting back and forth. So there's not that expectation that I'm going to respond right away, right? And so I think with that, it's, really identifying for yourself, like, where am I really at? And am I at 0? Am I at 1? And if I am, how do I focus on just continuing to show up and build and go after that 1, that 2, that 3? And all of a sudden, it's going to start creating this ripple effect, right? Like these dominoes are going to fall. If you had one domino and you knocked it down, like, okay, right? But you have one domino and they tell someone, now you have 2 dominoes and they knock down, right? And all of a sudden it's like you start planting these seeds. And so one of the things that I'll sometimes say to my clients is like, imagine you had a whole bunch of dominoes and you like put 2 down and then you put like 1 down, but like far away, and and you start putting like all these dominoes down and they aren't really connected. And all of a sudden you start filling in the gaps, right? Or someone else starts telling someone about you. And all of a sudden it's like you push one and just like everything falls into place, right? And so you really want to show up on the days that it doesn't feel like it's working, right? Continuing to show up, go on Facebook groups, go on Instagram. And, when you go on Instagram, asking yourself, like, am I just posting on my feed, or am I creating something that allows me to expand my reach? Reels is a good thing. I know hashtags are kind of like I've heard they've been becoming obsolete. I don't know like the details of that, but hashtags, growing your audience. I know the other thing with hashtags that has become really annoying and frustrating for a lot of people is that a lot of people are using like when you use a hashtag, then someone's like trying to promote on your post. I mean, that used to be only a Facebook thing and now it's an Instagram thing too, apparently. But, really focusing on, before I can even quantum leap or collapse time, what am I doing to just get that 1, right? It all starts with 1. And then from there, it grows. But if you are trying to get to step 10, get to step 100, or 100 clients before you even have 1 or 2 or 3, that is why you are struggling, right? So just a thought, a little thought, a little nugget for today. That is it for this episode of the Make Life Your Bitch podcast. If you want to learn more about Wealthy Rebel, the link will be in the description. The program is all about a Done With You launch. It's a group program with private coaching, and we are going to take your audience from stranger to sale. We are going to launch your private coaching, your program, whatever it is in that regard that feels aligned for you, and we are going to get you some clients. All right, so for everyone out there listening, go out there and make life your bitch. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Make Life Your Bitch podcast. If you enjoyed what you heard today, please share it with your bestie. And if you haven't already, subscribe, rate, and review the show on your favorite podcast player. If you have any questions, feedback, or compliments that you want to throw like confetti, you can reach me directly at podcast@makelifeyourbitch.co. Thanks for listening.